Hi guys, so today I'm going to be doing a book review video, and this book review video has a lot of mixed bag reviews. So the first book, I don't have it. It's called From Here to the Great Unknown. It's by Lisa Marie Presley and Riley Keough. Riley is Lisa Marie's daughter to her first husband. And this book was good. I really liked it. There wasn't pictures, there wasn't a set of pictures in it, but each chapter had a picture before it started the chapter. This book was long, or not long, but the chapters were long in it, just because of the fact that it went back and forth between her mother's point of view and then her point of view. And it tells you in the beginning of the book, Lisa Marie's words are in this text and Riley's are in this text, this font, so that way you knew the difference. But as you're going through the book and as you're reading it, it all meshes together like one story. So it's not like there's a separate break. I mean, there is a separate break, but I mean, it's not that big of a separate break where the story skews and you have to remember, okay, what did she say about this? What did her daughter say about that? That kind of thing. I really liked it. There was times in the book where I felt and this isn't a thing with me, but it's, she blamed her mom. Lisa Marie blamed her mom for a lot of things, and she treated her dad like he was more of the hero in her story, where I felt in the book it was I feel when and I don't know this because my parents never were divorced, but when you have divorced parents, it seems like maybe the one is trying to be the friend, and then when you have to go live with the other parent, they're more of a parent, and you don't like that kind of thing. That's how it was kind of in the book, I feel like. And there was a time towards the end of the book where Riley kind of got like that with her mother, where I felt she was blaming her mom for she was mom shaming her a little bit in the book, which I don't know if that's unless that's how I thought it came out as, but to me that's what it seemed like. But all in all, it was a good book. Like I said, there was only 9 chapters. There was a prologue in it. But all in all, it was a pretty interesting book. And I know that they made that biopic Elvis movie a year or two ago now. But I would love to see this book get turned into a movie. That's just how good of a book it was, where you're just wow, I wish this was a movie. I mean, I know they can't really do that, but I liked it like that. So this book, I really thought it was okay. It's a series. This is called Too Wild to Tame. It's by Tessa Bailey. I think this is the second book in the series. This is what it looks like. It was okay. The thing I hate about, I want to find, and maybe you could put some recommendations down below of books, but I want to try and get into a different genre. And usually I read mystery books. I don't really have a mystery book in this specific book review video, but I want to get into a new genre. And Kara, she's from Care About Books on YouTube. She likes Tessa Bailey, and I got a couple of her books. And the one thing I will say about this is that I hate in her books where when they start getting together, all they do is fool around. I don't like that in books. It's come on, every time you see each other, that's all you want to do. That's not what most couples do when they first start being in a relationship all the time. As soon as they get together, okay, I have to do that. And that's what happened in the book I read for Christmas called Window Shopping, by the same author. As soon as they got together, every chapter, every time they were together, that's all they did. And I don't know, it's can't you come up with a storyline for that part. Like, you have to keep putting this stuff in it. Like, I don't care if books have smut in it, but it gets so boring when you're reading it over and over and over again, because it's basically the same thing every time. But basically, it's about this man who, he takes his siblings to this, I think it's in Iowa, I don't remember, where he wants to get back into the good graces of the senator that he used to be on staff with. And it turns out that this woman who he meets in the woods is the black sheep in the family, where she's never in the pictures because she doesn't fit into their cookie cutter senator family, you know, like the atypical, stereotypical, whatever you want to call it, political family. And when he finds out that they both have these dark secrets. And in the book, I think within a chapter, the girl tells him her secret, but it takes the whole book where it finally gets out about his secret. And what I don't understand, I mean, the secret that she had was, I don't want to spoil it, was kind of like a big, like, plot detail in the book, like, that centers around what happens in the senator's campaign and what he wants to do with that. And then his secret is just like, it was basically like they just talked about it, and then she was okay with it because he just said, oh, I love you, and blah, 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 that didn't mean anything to me, blah, 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 that kind of thing. And then it was like, okay, like, that was basically it for that. And I thought that was just kind of stupid, because I'm like, okay, he did this, like, however many years ago it was, to somebody that this woman knew, and she was okay with it. And then the person that he had the secret with was in the book, but they never talked about it. It was never awkward between those two characters, like the man and the person. So I'm just like, that was just so weird. And basically it's like his siblings finding love, because his their mother died, and of course, like, her mother is kind of like, maybe once or twice in the book, she talks about how all she wants is her, through like a journal, all she wants is her kids to settle down, basically find love like she did with her husband, that kind of thing. And I will say, too, when I talked about, like, recommending me books that don't have a lot of smut in it, I did read the Dead Romantics, I think that's what it was called, or the Unromantics, one of them, you know, where, like, he turns into a ghost and stuff. Now, that book was good, and I kept that book because I really liked that book. This book, it was just okay. And like I said, it was a series. I didn't read the first book. I don't have the first book. I don't think I'm going to read that series, just because it was just okay to me. So this book, speaking of romance books, this is a Harlequin book. And Harlequin books have some smut in it, but not as much as that book did. This book really didn't have smut in it. Like, all they really did was kiss in this book. This is a love-inspired book. I got this last year for Easter, so I'm reading it now because the way I read books is I have 3 separate places where I get books from. So each time I get books out for book reviews, I just read in that specific spot. And this book was in a spot, and I know that Easter isn't until next month, but I wanted to read it so that way I had it ready, so I wasn't like looking for it again and again, because I was surprised I found this book, because I didn't think it was in the place where I was reading books from for that time. It's called A Mommy for Easter. It's by Linda Goodnight. This is what it looks like. Now, this book was good. And I don't think I've read a Harlequin book in a while. I think. At least I can't remember. And it's about this woman who, she finds this little girl. She's like a toddler in her kitchen. And it turns out that she sleepwalks. And her father is actually a man that she was married to before. And he came back to become this small town's veterinarian assistant, because the vet he's getting older and his wife's really sick, so he can't really like keep up. So he hired this man. And basically they were together, they got divorced like 7 or 8 years ago because she miscarried a baby. And basically it was like she was wallowing in her grief over it. She had like a still, I don't know if it was I think it was a miscarriage. I think that's what it was. I don't think it was a stillborn. I can't remember, but it was one of those two situations. And then all he did to handle his grief was to work, 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 work. And they never really talked about what happened. They grew apart and they got divorced. And she never had any more kids. There was never any reason why. It was just and now she's like older. She's almost 40. And she's like, well, now I can't have kids just because I'm old. And it's, when you get older, you're not really supposed to get pregnant just because, there's a lot of risk factors in that. And he got remarried and his wife died in a plane crash. And he had a daughter to this other woman. And basically, between the little girl and the little girl and her dad have this dog. They always keep showing up. And this town is pushing for them to get together. Like, they're on this Easter committee together because this little town where they live in goes all out for Easter. It's like a big anniversary Easter for this town. So everybody's going all out. They're on the Easter egg hunt committee. That kind of thing. And basically, she has to work with him. She doesn't want to. She's really like standoffish, I guess that's how you say it, in front of him. And then eventually they get together and they start realizing that they were meant to be. They start talking about what happened, the miscarriage, that kind of thing. And then they talk about having more kids. And she tells him something that happened after they got divorced. And that's when she's like, I don't want to be with you, blah, blah, blah. And then they get back together at the end of the book. And it was a really nice book. The only thing I will say, though, is when they were both like, I don't like you, like when they both were like, I don't like you anymore, and blah, 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 and they hated each other. Well, not really hated, but you know what I mean. Both of them kept bringing up in each chapter about that miscarriage. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, you don't have to keep bringing it up all the time. And I know, like, like, that is a hard thing to, like, not get over, but to come to terms with, I guess you could say. But it's like, talk about it, and talk about it. And then once they started talking about it, they didn't really bring it up that much in the book. That was the only thing that was kind of like a nitpicky thing for me. But other than that, it was a good book. Now, this book, I call these books kind of like hype books, where they come out when they first come out, and nobody really bothers with them until they make a movie or a show about them, and then everybody wants to read the book, or everybody wants to read the series because they made a show, a book, or a movie, all that stuff about it. And I got this book. I didn't get this at Target because there is a Target sticker on it. I got this at Book Bingo that our library has every once in a while, and it's Gone Girl. And they made this into a movie. Ben Affleck was in it. I never saw the movie. I know it was kind of like a drama, thriller kind of book. And let me tell you, this book took some twists and turns in it. It's by Gillian Flynn. And like I said, it's Gone Girl. That's what it looks like. There's no chapter marks in the book. I think there's 2 or 3 parts in the book. And basically it goes from the husband's point of view in a chapter or part to the wife's point of view. And basically it's about this couple where the main character comes home from work, doesn't see his wife, and basically is on the hunt to try to find her. And I won't tell you a lot about what happens in the book because a lot of it is really shocking, especially especially at the end, the last part in the book, that's really shocking. And when I first started reading this book, I really didn't enjoy it, and it took until like maybe 100 pages in where it got better. So if you start reading this book, don't give up on it, because it does get better. And then when I read the end, I'm like, this is why this book was turned into a movie, basically. It was that good. Now, I never seen the movie, so I don't know like if one's better than the other, but I really liked it. And sometimes it felt like there were points in the book where like they could have edited out some of it, because some of it was just like, it didn't really deal with anything, to be honest. But like, there was a part in the book about his dad, and his dad lives in a home because he has Alzheimer's, and he keeps escaping. And that part really didn't have any significance, I feel like, in the story. It didn't change anything in the story. It was just the main character just kept driving him back to the home or whatever he was in. So this book went to some really weird places. I got these at a fair where, I don't know, like, if you go to fairs, but they had, like, books there by, like, local authors. And this book is about Centralia, Pennsylvania. It's called Devil's Fire. It's by Andrew Shecktor. Is this how you say his last name? This is what it looks like. This book had, hold on, let me see, 14 pages or chapters in it. I don't know why I said pages. And then it had a preface and a foreword. And this book, it was kind of, it said it's not a, what do they call it? It's not a true, like, the storyline is fictitious, but what happened is based on true events, so it's not like stuff that actually happened. Like, there is some historical stuff that was in the book, but the storyline part of it wasn't real. And it's basically like this place is going to be like a ghost town. There was like a mine fire, the fire never went out, and it's basically a ghost town. There's only like maybe like a couple people that live there now, and they're just waiting until these people die to tear down the whole place and just strip it for the coal and all that stuff. And basically it goes into some like superstitious kind of stuff where it talks about they try to exorcise these demons that are in the mine and all this stuff. It was mostly kind of like I said, like, superstitious. There was like magical components in it, that kind of stuff. They brought in like these witches, this coven, to try to stop it and all this stuff. And then at the end, they basically like go to, because you can go there, but it's basically like go there at your own risk type of thing. And this family, it was the dad, the son, and the daughter went there, and they find this old man, and the old man is telling them this story. And at the end, he wanted to get into the story about the gatekeeper who comes out of the church every day, opens and shuts the gates. And he's like, oh, we'll get to that later. And they never did. And I really hope that they make the author makes another book to this, because I really want to know what the whole thing is about this gatekeeper. So this book, I don't want to go into like my opinion about Harry and Meghan, because I don't want to like get into it, because I could rant about it. But I got this book before, I think it was before like the Oprah interview and stuff like that, and it's called Finding Freedom, Harry and Meghan and the Making of a Modern Royal Family, and it's by Omid Scobie and Carolyn Durand. I don't know how to say it. Her last name is what it looks like. There wasn't really, I read a lot of books about the royals. There was one I read like a couple, maybe like last year, about the royals, where it was like all the royal couples, like the Queen and the Prince, Charles and Camilla, William and Kate, and then Harry and Meghan. And I read Harry's book and that kind of thing. And there really wasn't, in this book, there really wasn't anything new that they talked about, because it only went up to the birth of Archie, and then when they left the royal family, and that was basically it. And it was, like I said, it was an okay book. There wasn't anything different in it. There wasn't anything like new about what happened. It was basically just, like what they said about, how the press treated Megan, this way and that way, and that kind of stuff. And it went back and forth between, like how Harry grew up, how she grew up, that kind of thing. It was, like I said, it was okay. Like I said, I didn't think it was that interesting. There is a set of picture pages in this book, but other than that, it was an okay book, like I said. So maybe my next book review video, there will be better books. There is one that I'm reading now that is like 400 some pages, so I'm only getting close to 200. And I wanted to put it in the next book review video, but I don't know, because the book is about this. It happened in real life. It's about a real life thing, but it goes to some like crazy places. So I don't know if I'm gonna put it in or not, because it is a library book, so I have to return it anyway. But that was it. And I will have like a kind of like Eastery book. It's a Bill O'Reilly book about Jesus. So I'm gonna try and read that in the next set. Because I need like a big book to read. Like, this is why I read this book, because I'm trying to read bigger books that I have, like one big book per book review video. But other than that, that was my book review video. See you guys next time with another video, and hope you guys have a wonderful day.